I was thinking about it. I'm going to make this a separate video. I have been experimenting with getting Roman's quest to trigger, and I can't seem to influence it in any way. The only thing that I have done, if he's not going to be here and give it to me right now, is try to reset NPCs by going out of town and resting at a camp. Now, this is supposed to, if there's some kind of problem with their pathing or some trigger that's not working, it's supposed to refresh them so that they get back on track. But the only thing it has done, and it seems to have changed now, is it moved Roman to about right here. And then he just immediately started to walk away. I'm going to guess that he's over here somewhere instead right now. About to go on his... It's not him. About to go on his patrol. Maybe I missed him. Maybe he's already on his patrol. Which goes in here. And then... What? I don't think anybody goes in there. Where does he go? Just trying to catch him in his patrol right now, which is very difficult. So Roman, as you can see, all of these guards have variations on the uniform. And Roman has a fish helmet. He doesn't come out here. He goes over here. He has an insignia armor. He has a cape. And he has a sword. Now, the insignia armor, his helmet is fish helmet, by the way. It doesn't have a visor. And his insignia armor does not have a... like a chin guard. And if I can find him, he has disappeared on me like twice while experimenting with all this stuff. If I can find him, I can show you what I mean. I just hope he hasn't disappeared. Well, here, I'll show you this guy. He's very similar, but this is not Roman.
I've no love of conflict, me.
So he's got that chin guard. Roman is almost this guy. But without the chin guard. He's almost this guy, but without a shield and with the fish helmet. Because everybody's got something a little different with their uniform. Which is easier to recognize than looking at his face. And some of the ways that I've been trying to get this to trigger, besides just like resting. See, that helmet has a visor and a chin guard. I've been resting at home until morning. Also, like, I'll get through the things, false information about how this quest starts after this. Resting till morning at home and running up here, and if he's not here, I reload. If he's not going to trigger the quest, I just reload the save, the in save. I've also been sitting at this bench and resting until every time possible. Like, I'll stagger it sometimes, and if that doesn't work, I'll reload and I'll come back and rest and stagger it again. And I also, like I said, I went outside to camp to reset NPCs and then ran back in where he had changed locations. So...
Oh, no, you don't. You're not allowed in here.
I'm not going in. I'm looking for Roman, who isn't here. Roman has disappeared. Apparently.
What must needs be done?
Mayhap I'll come here when I've a day to myself.
Even the best of us has
On
his
my
limits.
feet all day. My legs are as
But even though he had changed locations, it just didn't seem to help, and I don't know why. And none of that has done anything. Nothing. Nothing has changed, really, besides just that one anomaly. I have also, besides, you know, reloading saves and... Well, that was weird.
This is where I come when life gets.
And resting different hours of the day and stuff like that. I've also talked to a lot of people. I don't think I've talked to anybody new. I might have. Yeah. Let's see here. Newest added. Yes. So I've talked to some nobles around. I've talked to some new guards. And none of them had any effect. I did hear from somebody that, you know, they gave me some long rumor thing, but that doesn't have any effect on anything, because if I talk to them for the first time, then that means that my previous playthroughs didn't require their information. And yet I've done this quest before. I've done this quest the very last time. And now I'll get into the false information. The very last time that I did this quest, I wrote it down in the timeline of events where it triggered. So that's why I am looking for it now, because it triggered now in the quest progression. And the reason that I really want to get this to trigger now is because now is the earliest and most, you know, available time that you will be here to be able to grab his quest. Yes, you can supposedly get it earlier than that, as I had already gone through a quest where I get the torn letter from Deeza's room. But I headed over in this direction, and I would have avoided Roman. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I would have avoided Roman if he was ready to give me the quest. So whether or not he was there and whether or not I skipped him doesn't matter. He should just give it to me anyway. He should always be there ready to give me the quest if he is ready to give me the quest. That has been something that the game has been consistent with. So he wasn't ready to give me the quest, but it is still possible that he could do it at that point. And yet, I would have avoided it completely by coming over here and then going in and getting the torn letter and then running out. The only prerequisite that is known is that you complete the quest Seat of the Sovereign. That is it. And as I have shown throughout the quest guide, that completing Seat of the Sovereign is simply completing in Dragon's Wake, getting the quest Seat of the Sovereign, going outside of the interrogation room, encountering Sven, and then at nighttime talking to Captain Brandt. Boom, Seat of the Sovereign complete. So all you have to do, you don't have to start monster culling or anything like that. All you have to do is talk to Captain Brandt
Nothing to report,
at night, and Seat of the Sovereign is complete. And then at any time before Feast of Deception, Roman should give you this quest. You do not have to visit Bakhbatal. You do not have to complete the Masquerade. It is available to trigger. I don't know what is preventing it from triggering. I would like to know that. But considering that it has in the past triggered for people at different times, including as soon as after having talked to Captain Brandt, then there is no other known prerequisite. You can, in some sense, reset the NPC to give you the quest. Like, there are things that you can do, supposedly, to force the trigger. Like, right now, what I could do is actually progress the masquerade, and then maybe there's another opportunity for him to give me the quest. Maybe. I don't want to progress the masquerade just to get this triggered, but if everything I do fails for another day or two of trying to get this to do anything at all, then I'll just go ahead and skip introducing it. I'll mention it. I'll have an insert. I'll go find Roman. Actually, yeah, I should go find Roman right now. Because he's going to be...
Surely I'm overdue a day off.
He may have already started walking around.
I'd sooner stay out of battle where it's possible.
Places where I can let down my guard.
What? Did somebody just walk into this bush and disappear? Or am I hallucinating? Yeah, he's already on his rounds. I'll find him on the next... Actually, here's what I'll do. Since I just did an in save. You don't need to visit Bakbatal. You don't need to complete the masquerade. You don't need to not have other quests active. There's no one besides Captain Brant to complete Seat of the Sovereign that you need to talk to. Like, all of that is misinformation. It's just the coincidence, the circumstances that people were in when this quest triggered for them. And because there's no consistency with the way that people encounter this quest, none of that can be the trigger.
How did I end up in this?
So I was getting a ton of misinformation while looking at what is supposed to work. And I was experimenting and I was testing every single one of those options, and nothing was working. The only thing I have left is to do something that I know is not connected. It's just coincidental because I wrote this down during my last playthrough the moment it happened. So I had started the masquerade quest. I had started this. I had this gear and the mask equipped, and I ran up here during the morning to get the masquerade quest started, and Roman approached me. That's it.
Even the best of us has his limits, I suppose.
So if that happened, I don't have to progress past this for this quest to start. I do not. So that, keep that in mind.
Suppose I ought to
Hello, where's
the
Roman?
expense of my duty.
Don't tell me he's just straight disappeared again. He's not the first to start walking away. I think Roman's disappeared. He's not dead. I have encountered him a few times already.
Would that all my days
Of course, I also kept getting distracted. Instead of going right to his location, I kind of just stopped and looked and started explaining some things, so I may have just missed him. I'll try that again. And this time, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to run to his spot so I can look directly at him. show you what he looks like. Go, 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 go. Run, please don't run into things.
This hustle and bustle puts me right at heart.
Treat myself to a tickle before bed.
Well met, sir. Be ready to give the tickle next.
Where to indeed? Next.
Quite the predicament.
In a predicament indeed. I may have also... I haven't put the episode together yet, so none of the information that I have said so far in what I think triggers this quest is part of that video, and I may just cut it all out. Or I could include it in this video.
Rest all my equipment.
None of you are Roman.
Tiring being so alert all day.
Roman has disappeared. He should have been right there. So he's not in the court and he's not over there. That is interesting. I for sure made it before he started his rounds.
Such quietude is a blessing.
So where has Roman gone? And why is he gone?
I'd sooner stay out of battle where possible. Such quietude is a blessing.
This is odd.
I cannot afford another night of cavorting.
And it's the second time that he's just disappeared. Maybe he's on leave.
Minute now.
Like, how complicated is NPC behavior in this game? I don't actually know. It seems to be a lot more complicated than I had originally thought. Much like the case of a sculptor's block quest, how even though it should have triggered very early on, it just didn't. But I did eventually get it to trigger there with no influence from me at all, right? Hello, Roman.
Is aught amiss?
So this is Roman. As you can see, he doesn't have the long skirt in the front. So he's got this shorter skirt. He's holding a sword. He's got the fish helmet, which is all I can say about describing it. He's got the crest armor, but he's got no neck guard. And he's got the chainmail around his neck. So this is Roman. This is who you're looking for. And he does spawn over here. And if he doesn't spawn over here, besides the last few moments where he was just disappeared, he is supposed to, when he's ready to give you the quest, be standing about somewhere around here. Maybe about right here. So as you approach the castle, he starts walking toward you to give you the quest. And if you are going, left or right, if you're swerving away from him, he is still trying to approach you to give you the quest. And when he gives you the quest, he'll ask you to follow him over here, about right here, where he will talk to you more and give you the Dold Regalia sword and so on and so forth.
A welcome respite from all that hustle and bustle.
But he's... wow, the game's getting framey. He's just not giving me the quest. I don't know what to do. This is where I want it. Right here. I want that quest now in the game.
I'd sooner stay out.
And I'll explain more in a video that I'm actually putting together for the guide as to why I want the quest now, why it is efficient for it to happen now. And as I have explained in this video, it can trigger now. It just isn't triggering now. And any information that you have for me, and everything that I have said so far, is based on testing all of this information. I have tested the information already that is available. But if you have information that I haven't mentioned that deals with this sort of issue, where a NPC should give you a quest, just like the case of a sculptor's block, where that NPC was just not giving me the quest, and there is something known about the way the game behaves to get this to trigger, please let me know. I feel like I cannot continue the guide until this happens. And in 2 days, if I haven't gotten it to work, I'm moving on. I will have a setup. I'll show you Roman. I'll tell you what could happen now, and then I'll just let it happen later. And then I'll also go do the other thing that I need to do, and then continue Masquerade and so on and so forth. And that's about all I have to say about that. One more thing that I'm going to try right here, right now, in this video, as this video comes to a close, is go camp outside. I camped out the west end last time. Now I'm going to camp outside of the north gate. No reason. I don't think it really makes a difference. I could also fast travel. Maybe that would help. I don't know. I haven't tried fast traveling. It could be some strange mechanic that fast travel affects NPC behavior. I don't know if because I don't normally fast travel. I don't think that I fast traveled in my last playthrough before any of this happened. I think like Saint of the Slums, when you go back to get the medicine analyzed, in my last playthrough, I ran by foot all the way back to the medicine guy to get his opinion on what to do with the gracious hand. And then I ran by foot all the way back to the capital to tell Lottie or whatever her name is about all that. So I did not fast travel yet in my last playthrough. But in this playthrough, I did do that, and I don't remember, but it is possible, and I would have to check if that information's there. It is possible that before I fast traveled, the sculptor quest wasn't triggering, and then after I fast traveled, it did trigger. And it's possible, though again, I would have to check and test that this quest was ready to trigger before fast traveling, and then I fast traveled and it broke. Those are possibilities. If the data actually aligns to that, then I could say that there's more testing that needs to be done. I don't think that's the case, but I'm at a loss. And then if it is the case, then all I need to do is fast travel to fix it, which is something that I'm probably going to try very soon. Now, I don't think camping counts as a in save. And when you approach the castle, the game saves. So if I need to reload, I am not going to reload at this campsite. One of my thoughts was, and the reason I mentioned that, if I go up to the castle now and he's still not there, maybe I reload to the campsite and then use a ferry stone to fast travel back into the capital, but it won't load me back at the camp. So I would have to reload, run back out to the camp, and then fast travel inside and test it that way, which is something that I'm going to do later off screen as I continue to experiment with this until I get helpful and correct information about why this is happening. Another possibility, it's just a random chance whether or not at any point in time, obviously the character or the NPC has to load in some fashion. So resting or passing the time on a bench or reloading the game or exiting the city and coming back in reloads the NPC. All of those things, fast travel, whatever. It's possible that it's just a probability that he will or will not be ready to give you the quest, and it just hasn't landed on... That guy's going to try to talk to me. It just hasn't landed on Roman quest give true or whatever. However that works. And thus there is nothing that I can do besides continue to roll that dice to see if it's going to happen.
Nice place, this.
But since it is a possibility that you can encounter him, I want the Hello? Sorry. Man praising the sun up here. He's not here.
I must earn the people's favor.
So resting at a camp did not work. It also didn't move him.
I'm about ready to fall asleep.
If 'tis naught of import.
It is import. Give me the regalia sword, man. I could just fast travel right here and test that, and then if it doesn't work, I'll just reload. This is going up without a single edit. Just posting it the way it is. And if I encounter him, I'll stop the recording immediately and start over the recording so that I can have something. In which case, I'll still be requesting information so that I can accurately speak as to what was going on.
Acting up today. Couldn't hurt to put my feet at the moment. That's such peace.
He's not here.
I'd kill for some decent
Okay.
sleep.
Headroll if aught goes awry.